We're on. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a NBA episode, and finally, Serbensky is back on the podcast.
Yeah, depressed Suns fan over here. I don't know if any of you followed the stories on Instagram. I went to two finals games. One was an actual finals game. One was a road rally. Both of them were losses. I went to game three, which was because that was like everybody. And then I got free tickets actually. It was insane to go to game five of the NBA finals, where as much as it stunk in the moment, I think the Drew and Giannis dunk on the other end is going to be like one of those plays forever. Not as great as the LeBron block, but something like that. And I'm like, I got to witness that. That was really cool. He dunked it on the basket that I was behind.
Mm.
Stunk in the moment. Stunk in the moment, though. Wanted to cry. It was depressing. But that being said, if you go back and check my playoff prediction video from the beginning of the did pick Bucks over Suns in six. So I am cheap.
Yes, you are.
That being said, which means obviously free agency is coming fast. I think it was a bit. I think it was a bit crazier than a lot of people were thinking it was going to be. Once we pretty much knew Chris Paul's going to resign, they're going to re-sign other people, and the big one was this was going to be the honest free agency. But he obviously signed his extension last year, so we're waiting until free agency. So we have that, which obviously was the right decision because let him do a championship. But we're just kind of going to go through and give all of these teams kind of their. So that start with the Atlanta Hawks, the first team on our list. Jalen Johnson out of Duke and Sharif Cooper out of Auburn. Especially Sharif Cooper getting mid second round. That's pretty good pickup. Played pretty well in Auburn. And then obviously Jalen Johnson, like he was one then opted out when they started being bad,
Yeah, I
right?
think he played like 6 games and then
He
left,
played
but
like he played, Duke is actually terrible this season. I'm a head out. So pickups, re-signed Solomon Hill, nothing too crazy. They re-signed Luke Phillips with a 1 year, $5 million contract. Um, right from the Sacramento Kings, so good wing depth there, or shooting guard depth. Gorgie Jang, at least can help on the Echo Conlon's kind of recovering from his injuries, and we got injured a little bit later. And then obviously the two big ones, the two big extensions. Trey Young with a 200 something dollar extension, and then John Collins with a 5 year, I believe it was like $120 million extension. Locking up, so I'd probably give him a B. I feel like got decent depth for cheap. Um, they didn't really do much for the Eastern Conference Finals, so they signed their core and got a little bit deeper. So I don't think maybe even a B plus.
I mean, the Hawks have a decent team, of course. I mean, I haven't really paid attention to much to all the re-signings. I do know, like you said, they drafted both Jalen Johnson and Sharif Cooper in the NBA draft, which I obviously pay a lot of attention to college basketball. Samansky's more of the NBA person. I
They'll
do.
know more about the incoming rookies than I do.
Yeah, I do watch a lot of college basketball, so I do tend to know a lot about the guys coming in. But Serbinsky is more of the NBA person than I am. I still watch the NBA, just not as much as Serbinsky does. He knows more in NBA than probably I do. Anyway, I haven't really paid much attention to who the Hawks have signed because none of the people I've really heard of they have signed. Like I know they extended a couple guys, so I guess my grade for the Hawks would be a B, B minus. They basically are right where they need to be. They've done what they've needed to do. They got a couple of nice guys in the NBA or in the NF. Yeah, no, an NBA draft. NBA draft, yeah. They got a couple of nice guys in the NBA draft, so they basically have put themselves in a position to win, and that's always good for any team.
They for them at the point guard. They picked from the NFL draft.
Yeah.
All these signings. So now we go to the Celtics for this year. Um, I mean, it's not some crazy ones. I mean, traded away the bad contract of Kemba Walker, got some draft consideration with Moses Brown, and the big one is now Walker, which is nice return, right? Nice returning piece for the Celtics. He's kind of just hit Josh Richardson for free, so that was pretty nice. They also got Chris Dunn, who's a nice guard. His backup guard, River Fernando, nice rotational player. A couple of decent signing. It's just not that good anymore. And then the big one, this straight up, that 1 year, $4.9 million contract, which sure. Uh, I don't know if they draft. I don't think they drafted him. I think they just signed Sam out, which nothing crazy. It's just something that was popping up here. Obviously, the Denver pickup is nice. That's a good point guard for super cheap. Obviously, it's probably only 1 year. He's probably going to break up his value and sign something next year. But overall, again, decent. Not amazing. Getting off the Kemba Walker contract's pretty good, so I'd probably give him a B, maybe closer to a B minus this time. The reason we're not doing winners or losers for this year's free agency was because there were a lot of teams that just did good. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely losers, and we will talk about them. But the Celtics good, kind of did a good job of retooling this team. So with the cap space they had, so I give them B minus. Probably.
Yeah, I do like their signing of Dennis Schroeder. I think Dennis Schroeder's a loser though for signing that deal.
He's a loser. Yes, yes, that was. He turned out 84 million. Got five.
uh, oh man, but I mean, I do like the signing for the Celtics, so that's very smart. Schroeder's a fine player. He's a good point guard. He definitely will fill in the Kemba Walker's role, I think, for in Boston, and will probably might fill it in actually better than Kemba, as Kemba's struggled in past years. Of course, like you said, they trade away Kemba to the Oklahoma City Thunder, along with a first round pick, so that the Thunder could take on his massive contract. Yeah, the Thunder got yet another first round pick. Uh, they gotta be averaging like three first round picks a year at this point.
For the next like 6 years.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous. And then they got another one. They got another like two in the draft by trading away one to the Rockets, and then another one from the Jazz. It's like, oh my gosh. But
Yeah.
um, but anyways, I do like what Boston did this offseason. Brad Stevens has been very active at front office. He's been making a lot of moves. Um, Once again, I think Boston has put themselves in a position to win. You get a healthy team. You get Jaylen Brown healthy. You have Jason Tatum healthy. You have your guys back fully healthy. You also signed Marcus Smart, I think, recently to an extension, if I'm correct. So,
Yeah. I believe it just happened. So
yeah. So, I mean, I think Boston has put themselves in a position to win. And yeah, I'd give them a solid B, B plus, somewhere around there. Once again,
yeah.
they put
Oh
themselves in
yeah.
position to win, and they also added on a little bit.
This Eastern Conference video because there's obviously 30 teams, so we're gonna split it up into Eastern Conference and Western Conference. So it's not
Yeah.
like an hour and a half long video.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The Brooklyn Nets. Okay. The Nets had some interesting stuff. Obviously traded Shamit for Javon Carter and then kind of swap picks. Yeah, kind of neutral move. Javon Carter's a bit worse than Landry Shamit. As a Suns fan, I was happy with that trade. James some backup fours and fives, decent. I do like the re-signing of Bruce Brown. That's definitely good for them at the backup shooting guard position. Re-signing, obviously, giving Kevin Durant the 4-year extension, so that's good. Re-signing Blake Griffin was also re-signed him pretty cheap. He played really well in the playoffs. Bringing in Patty Mills is good as a backup point guard, but I feel like what's being forgotten is they lost Jeff Green, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I would have rather kept Jeff Green than have Patty Mills as my backup. I not no disrespect to Patty Mills, I love Patty Mills, but I feel like with a team that's so lacking in bigs, I would have much rather had Jeff Green, that guy who kind of does everything. So overall, good off season, re-sign the people they should have. So I'll give them a C plus. Probably. The only reason it's not a B is because they lost Jeff Green.
I mean, what really did the Nets need to do?
Basically
When
get
you
any
have a big
championship
three
favorites.
known as James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, there's not really a whole lot you can do to really make yourself a whole lot better. That
Right.
alone will basically just carry you to a championship. But like you said, they got Blake Griffin back. They did make that deal with Landry Shamet. And I do like Javon Carter a lot. He's a good player. I've watched him at West Virginia. I've watched him actually in the NBA. Still a solid overall player. He's a very good 3-and-D point guard. And they also got a first round pick out of that, which they used on Dayron Sharp, which is not a bad player in and of itself. So not a bad deal, I would say, for the Nets. But overall, there's really not a whole lot they really could do to make themselves a whole lot better. So I'll give them, I guess, a B minus. I'm pretty neutral on this. There's not really much I can say. They're like, oh yeah, that was a great move. They didn't really need to make any kind of move.
I do have a video of Javon Carter hitting a three at a Suns game that I was at on my phone. So I guess there's that. Anyway, the Charlotte Hornets obviously lost Malik Monk and Devontae Graham. Um, they did bring in Mason Plumlee, which I thought was a pick up
Plumlee.
better than both Cody Zeller and Bismack Biyombo. So
Yeah,
there's at
yeah, I
least
suppose.
that, and they basically got a pick to take on the salary from the
Hmm.
Pistons. So I wouldn't complain too much with that. Had a really nice draft with Kai Jones and James Bouknight. Kai, the James Bouknight was really good as well, but Kai Jones I think was one that I thought was a little underrated, and that's a really good pickup for the Hornets. Um, West, I believe that was probably and some picks. I believe that was from the sign and trade. Sign and trade.
Well, he was a
It,
sign and trade. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Point guard to LaMelo.
definitely not.
And then Kelly Oubre to a pretty cheap contract. Not a crazy expensive contract for Kelly Oubre. It'll clutter the wings. I won't complain because it's a cheap contract. So I'm team to kind of equal out. I think I'm gonna give him a B because of the draft because I feel like
Yeah, I mean the Hornets obviously that signed and trade with Devontae Graham. The Pelicans signing Devontae Graham. They ended up getting a first round pick out of that, lottery protected though. They also, of course, you talked about them getting Kai Jones. They traded for that pick and gave the Knicks a future first rounder in return. So overall, I think the Hornets did a decent job. I do like Kai Jones, and I really do like James Booknight as well. Both of those are,
you're you
yeah,
were a James Knight fan who big tournament taking his team all the way to the Big East championship.
well, I
And then
figured
it was
it'd beat
Georgetown.
it. I mean, they would. I'm sure. I figured they'd at least beat Alabama, but they didn't even get to Alabama, and then Alabama just beat Maryland anyway. So, but UConn or UConn, uh, Hornets are a decent looking team. Like you said, they made some nice moves. I do like their draft class. So overall, I don't really have a whole lot to say about Charlotte because there wasn't really a whole lot that I looked at that I was very impressed by. I did like the draft. Other than that, I mean, they traded for Mason Plumlee. I'm just happy that the Pistons traded away Mason Plumlee, so I don't care how it helps out the Hornets at all because the Pistons just get to drop a $10 million contract that's worth literally nothing. So, but
I mean, he was better than Jaylen. Oh gosh, terribly last year.
yeah, but Jaleel Okafor wasn't making like $10 million a year.
True, it's true. And okay, we can pay him a little bit. We're not going to be contending for like the next 2 years.
Yeah, we're just
I
paying.
don't care what we're paying.
We're paying Kelly Olynyk now.
Everybody, oh my gosh, that was weird. Okay, everybody when we signed, like, guys, I'm like, dude, we're not going to be contending at that time. By that time, we can have him off our team by the time we're ready to contend. He's just here to be the tank commander. He's here to lose.
Yet he went off and almost got most improved. It wasn't for Julius Randle.
Yeah, who else is good? Okay, all right. Now we get to probably the first, in my opinion, in the PC, obviously. But as far as as far as what they could have done, this was kind of the best they could have done. So some moves, and I'm some moves from the side of trade, which basically got their place Lonzo Ball with Devontae Graham. That's almost said ransom. So they basically pretty okay. Mark didn't see coming, and when I saw it coming, I'm like, I feel like DeMar DeRozan would fit on that team because they have a bunch of guys around him that can shoot. Well, DeMar DeRozan's weakness can't shoot the ball very well. So I thought that was a pretty good pickup. And then Tony Bradley is a backup center. They signed Ayo Dosunmu, which sure, I don't know how he's going to be in the NBA, but he was good in summer league. And that's really it. Obviously, the big moves were DeMar DeRozan on the ball, and then Alex Caruso's nice. Again, as far as I feel like this team is really good. But again, I've learned with trusting the Chicago Bulls. Time and time again, I'm like, these Chicago Bulls will be good. And they just fall flat on their face. So I'm not gonna say they'll be amazing, but I think right now I would predict them to be in the playoffs. Probably like a 6 or 7. Just because the East is pretty good. Maybe
Like you said, with the Bulls, it remains to be seen because I don't know how this group of five is at all going to work. Because Lonzo Ball, I mean, the Lonzo animation itself just is all jacked up, and him as a shooter himself, he's not amazing. He's okay, but
he's 8 attempts last year, something like that. That's really good. He's gotten a lot better. When he's at the Lakers, he was absolutely garbage. But last year, I did watch a lot of the game. I did watch a lot of Pelicans games because they were the ones that were on national TV because of, Zion. So he is actually a lot better than this year, which is why I'm better with the signing. If you had signed like 2 years ago and signed Lonzo, but I can guarantee you that much.
yeah, I mean, you never know. Lonzo could all. I don't really. He's not. I don't think his specialty is exactly. I mean, he's not a bad shooter necessarily, but I wouldn't say his specialty is shooting. His specialty is more of passing, assists. He dishes the ball out more than he really just makes a bunch of shots.
He does have Zach Levine, so he's not really going to need to shoot much.
Well, yeah, that would be their shooting in the backcourt because obviously DeMar DeRozan can't shoot at all. He's a mid range shooter, which that was a unique signing to me too. The Bulls started making these moves. I'm like, okay, they're trying to create a giant lineup here, but they have no shooting in the backcourt, not named Zach Levine. I mean,
I
Lonzo can shoot a
mean,
little bit, but yeah, I don't know. And then you got Vucevic and Marketing, who both can shoot it from the 3 point line, which is like,
I don't
well,
know.
who's getting the rebounds?
I don't think Martin is going to be on this team, though. Honestly, I think the Bulls, from what I've heard from most Bulls fans, that Martin is not going to be on this team. They're going to probably have Patrick Williams at the four, which I think is he has a future. He's definitely got a future. I don't think they keep Larry Martin, though. I think Larry Martin is going to walk. I don't think anyone loves. I don't know. Just Larry Martin last year. It just feels like he's been on a decline. So from what I've heard from Bulls fans, because I have a couple friends that are Bulls fans, no Martin on that team. So, but I feel like they kind of did the best they could. They draft or not draft in the free agency period, and Zach Levine only has what, 2 more years on his deal. So if you're not contending at least for the playoffs this year, then you come into a situation of oh crap, you got 1 year left of Zach Levine, and I don't think Bulls fans are ready to go back and do a full rebuild. Not again.
Yeah, of course, both Lonzo and DeMar DeRozan were signed in trades, so they gave up a lot of people to get those two, as they traded away Thaddeus Young, Al
That was a
Farouk
big one.
Aminu, and two
Yeah.
second-round picks to the Spurs. And with the Pelicans, they gave the Pelicans Thomas Sadaransky, Garrett Temple, and a second round pick, which is a lot of guys for just two players. And of
I
course, like
feel
you
like
said, they signed Alex Caruso. They got some more people to fill those spots, but I don't know. I mean, on paper, yes. Like you said, getting Lonzo and DeMar DeRozan is very good. I'd say A minus. They also, I mean, I love Iota Sumu. I'd say A minus on the paper portion of it, but whether it'll work out or not, eh, I
it depends. I think the only important person in the game is Thaddeus Young, and he knows the only person that didn't really care about losing. Like I don't care about. If I'm a Bulls fan, I don't really care about losing Garrett Temple or um, what's his face, Tomas Sadaransky.
or Al
But
Farouk
it's yet to
Aminu.
be seen. All right, they drafted Devin Mobley. A moving. No, but they drafted Devin Mobley, which was really good. Signed Ricky Rubio, which is they signed Anderson Varejao up and kicking. They signed Anderson Varejao contract. How did he? Okay, never mind. That was in. They received, and then honestly, reasonable contract. I think 20 a year for Jarrett Allen is pretty good. Maybe a little bit more, but still good. I think that's what he would get on the open market, and I think they signed him for a pretty good contract. So drafted Devin Mobley, Jarrett Allen, great player. I'm excited to see if this Twin Towers actually works. The NBA.
Yeah, it'll be unique to see how Evan Mobley and Jared Allen actually work together. Because obviously, with the Cavs going ahead and taking Jared Allen, they're obviously planning to pair Evan Mobley and Jared Allen together. I wouldn't see why they would bench one or the other. So I think those will be the 4 and the 5. I'm guessing Mobley will probably be the 4, and they'll put Jared Allen in at 5. So really, it makes me wonder. I mean, they got Ricky Rubio. To me, it kind of looks like the Cavs might be trying to start to compete here with getting some nice guys, getting some good players. They definitely, in a year or two, they could be looking to maybe compete for a playoff spot, championship, possibly, assuming they get
Yeah,
more competitors
I'm
instead.
surprised they didn't compete for the play-in tournament last year. I think they'll be definitely competing for the play-in tournament this year.
Well,
At
really,
least
I
with me.
wonder what they're going to do with Colin Sexton because they have Darius Garland and Colin Sexton on the team, and I mean, Sexton's a bit of a small shooting guard. Do they try trading away Sexton to get something?
My thing is, I think the three teams that I can with confidence say will not be competing for the play-in tournament next year. And I think the only are the Thunder, and I forgot who the third team I was going to say because I like a chance. I don't think it will happen, but who knows? But those are like the only three that I think I can safely say I don't think these teams are going to compete for the play. I, I don't think the Thunder and the Pistons will be competing. But give them an A. What did you?
For the Cavs, I guess I would give them A minus. I mean, you drafted Evan Mobley. You did what you're supposed to. You got nice talent along with it. That's a name. That's a name in my book.
Awesome. To our Pistons. Don't worry.
We drafted Cade Cunningham. A plus right off the
Uh,
bat.
so you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, thank God. That guy was awful.
We did re-sign Corey Joseph. I mean, we waived Corey Joseph and we signed him back in, which is good. Corey Joseph. We waived Dennis Smith Jr.
Hmm.
But we signed Corey. I feel like Dennis Smith Jr. has a little bit more potential than Corey Joseph, but I do like Corey Joseph bringing a veteran perspective to this young team. We Janice Jackson. We signed Saban Lee. He looked a lot better in his last couple of summer league games. He's definitely a backup, but at least a
I would say a third stringer. I don't like
for a second round pick, I'm not going to complain too much. Signed Kelly Olynyk. That was our Mason Plumlee contract of the year. And was great. We drafted Cade. We both are. I saw Isaiah Leonard got drafted to the Pistons. I jumped out of my seat. And then we did say check who looks pretty decent. I think the contract because again, I think he's Julian Okafor. But I like them. I like them putting him on a two-way contract to get him into the G League and get him working. But Luca Garza honestly looked pretty good in summer league. I mean, for a 57 for the 52nd pick, why if he ends up not being that great, so be it. He's the 52nd pick. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna give an A. I'm gonna give an A plus just because I got Cade Cunningham. So.
Yeah, I loved the Pistons off season, and that's something that Detroit fans don't normally get to say because normally we blow something in the off season. Excuse me, in the off season. But the only thing I really did not like about the Pistons really off season was the Kelly Olynyk signing. Now, I don't mind Kelly Olynyk. Olynyk is a fine player. He's not bad. I mean, he's 30 years old, but he's not a bad player. I totally don't mind signing Kelly Olynyk. Just paying him $10.5 million a year is a little bit of a stretch. Because I totally do not mind signing Kelly Olynyk. He's a fine player. I would not mind having Kelly Olynyk on my team. However, for $10.5 million a year is a bit much for a 30-year-old guy who is average at most. And I do like our signing of Trey Lyles though, 2 years, $5 million. I love that. I like that signing. And of course, we drafted Cade Cunningham, who was solid in the NBA Summer League. I wish I could have seen Isaiah Livers in the NBA Summer League, but still hurt, still recovering.
Yeah, he's probably still recovering from his injury.
Yeah, Isaiah Stewart was hurt too, so we didn't get to see him. But Sadiq,
he got injured at the USA Slip. He was like, oh.
Man, dang
No,
it.
not beef. I'm, they were out of them, but I'm gonna get a beef stew shirt here eventually. We want beef stew
Beef stew jersey. Oh yeah.
beef stew shirt. Oh heck yeah.
Maybe I'll get myself a Livers jersey if he makes the team. but
Yeah, good off season.
but yeah, they had a fantastic draft, fantastic signings. We got rid of Mason Plumlee. We dropped 20 picks to do it. I don't care. We still got Isaiah Livers, and then we got Luca Garza later, which I love that pick because it was hilarious. And I watched the first Piston. I watched a Piston summer league game, and Luca Garza literally went. They said that Luca Garza had dropped 25 pounds. I'm like, well, wait, who is it?
And then he
Luca
dropped
Garza, where
25
are you? Where'd
points.
you go?
And then he dropped 25 points.
Yeah, Luca Garza has been incredible in the NBA Summer League. 20 point. He had a 20-point game with 14 rebounds. I forget what game that was, but he has been so good in the NBA Summer League. When I saw that he had dropped 25 pounds, I was already just ecstatic because I knew the guy was really good at Iowa. Obviously, he was incredible with the Hawkeyes, and that was a great late pick for the Pistons. And then all of a sudden he drops 25 pounds, and he can still hit threes, and he can still rebound the ball, and he can still do everything they did at Iowa, which is awesome because that will be incredible to have in the NBA. So if he can continue to do this continue playing like he did at Iowa, in the NBA G League, and if he makes it to the actual NBA with the Pistons, and he can do the same thing, he's gonna be an all-star. And I really hope he succeeds because he is definitely working his tail off, and he is looking unstinking believable. It has been so fun to watch Luca Garza, which I hear
I
his new nickname is Garzilla, which I love it.
I I did not realize that Dwayne Washington got signed, which means he's not going to be at Ohio State next year. I realized that he was saying, "Oh, I'm going to go back to Ohio State," but no, he's just got signed by the Pacers, so Ohio State doesn't have Washington anymore.
That might be more of a blessing, but
Oh no, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. I'm so happy right now as a Michigan fan. Their stock just dropped so much. Okay, anyway, the Indiana Pacers they signed Dwayne Washington for a two-way contract. Drafted Chris Duarte and signed T.J. McConnell. That's it.
I mean,
That's literally it. I'm gonna honestly give them a not ranked because they didn't do barely anything. I'm gonna give them a not ranked.
I guess I'll give him an average B minus. They haven't really done much of anything. You did it. You got Duarte in the draft. Not too bad. Didn't they? Oh no, that was the pick that they took Duarte with 13th. Never mind.
Yeah.
But not too bad overall so far. The whole four moves that they've made apparently. but yeah, I'll say B minus. Not really much I can go off of. So let's go with let's throw a B minus on them.
And now we get to another one of the big ones. The Miami Heat signed for Kyle Lowry. Signed Mark. Dwayne Dedman is a nice backup five. Obviously gave 90 mil to Duncan Robinson, which anyone who says that's no pay is stupid. That's just what shooters get nowadays. That's a great one. Re-signed Victor Oladipo to a 1-year like super cheap contract, which is great. Signed PJ Tucker, which one as much as I love having a bumper sticker of him going after being dunked on by Cam Johnson. Did I show you that? Did I show you that? My girlfriend painted or like drew a picture of PJ Tucker's face after getting dunked on by Cam Johnson. It turned into me. So I have a bumper sticker of that on my car.
That's funny.
A little bit of an so I'm not Same thing with like Chris Paul. And then they did it. They re-signed Udonis Haslem for another year, baby. He's trying to break Kobe's record of being the longest tenured player of one team. But overall, I'm gonna give the Miami Heat an A. I mean, yeah, some of them in the long runs are overpays, but when you're dealing with the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks in the same conference, even the Sixers, I think this puts them in a tier. I think this puts them in the Sixers tier. I think it puts them in the Sixers tier. Those two right under the Nets, where I think if the Heat matched up with the Bucks and the Nets, if things bounce their way, they might have a chance. Really, on the other team, but they did the best position to win. I think they did great.
Yeah, I don't see.
I think they're dark horse contenders now.
Yeah, for the Heat, I don't see any moves actually in the draft. I don't think did they have a draft pick? I don't think
I
they
don't think
did.
so.
Yeah, but obviously they did sign Kyle Lowry and they signed in trade. I believe who they had to give up for Lowry was Precious Achua and Gordon Dragic in return, if I am correct. Well, yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah. Gordon Dragic and Precious Achua was the return given for Kyle Lowry. Lowry's up there a little bit. I think he's like, what, 33, 34, probably.
I
I
think he's
mean,
30.
a good player, so I don't mind this signing for Miami. I like them re-signing Duncan Robinson. Obviously, it's a bigger deal, largest actually ever in all of NBA history for any undrafted free agent. So well
And
done,
guess who
Duncan
he's from?
Robinson.
You know, the big play back there, Michigan.
Yeah, but well done, Duncan Robinson. Really good shooter, obviously. He's as a spot up. He's as a spot up shooter. Has been doing really well in the NBA. But Miami definitely is looking to compete. They're looking to redeem themselves after getting 4-0'd by the Bucks right off the bat. Bucks wanting revenge, obviously. So I don't mind. I don't mind Miami's off season. They had a solid off season. Lot. They got some talent inside. As they look to compete again for a title and get back to the NBA Finals where they lost to the Lakers in the bubble 2 years ago, or I guess 1 year ago because they kind of delayed it. Anyways, yeah, I'll say I'll give the Heat an A minus. Solid overall year as they try to solid off season as they look to contend for a title.
All right, last couple ones. Passes on to Tacumpo. Uh, they traded for Grayson Allen, which was decent. Re-signed Bobby Portis. Signed Grant, or not Grant Hill, George Hill. They signed Grant Hill, like real, like prime Grant Hill. Ooh, but
Oh
George
boy.
Hill signed. Gosh, they signed Rodney Hood and George Hill. They're trying to bring back the 2018 Cavaliers. Signed. That's really. I mean, they are coming. Vincenzo back. George Hill for cheap is great. Re-signing Portis is great. Losing Tucker kind of stinks. Great overall would be they didn't really do much, but the team just won the championship. They didn't really need to do too much. Only able to beat the Nets is the question, which I don't fully agree because I mean they almost the championship away from them. Don't get me wrong, but they almost lost. They were losing to the Nets with no Kyrie Irving. So the team was shoe size away from losing to that at a third of its strength. It's not that's scary. That's
Yeah,
scary.
I'm not gonna go over my frustrations with the refereeing and and the entire NBA playoffs, especially that series. If you want to hear about my frustrations with all that, me and Sam have a video going over all the different NBA playoff series, and I just go off on a tirade about it. So I'm not going to talk about that now. I'm really tired of thinking about that. It is what it is. But Bucks won the championship. Uh, I think all Bucks fans really care about is that they signed back Bobby Portis, so they can just all start chanting Bobby randomly in the
Bobby, Bobby.
Bobby, Bobby.
Oh man, when I heard the Bobby chant, like, well, we lose this series in six. Six.
Yeah, let's not talk about that anymore. I'm sorry. I can't stand Milwaukee. I really can't. I hate the Bucks with a
See,
living stinking passion.
honestly, I feel like there's not a team that I'd rather have lost to. Because technically, I know this is fan, I'm not supposed to like the Bucks, but it's hard for me to not like Giannis. It's hard for me to not like Giannis.
Not
Just
me.
because, just because the big thing is what he did for the NBA. He re-signed in the small market. You rarely see superstars do that. For that, he won it like kind of the dirt around him versus. So he's appreciated for that. No hard feelings, Bucks fans. But screw you. No, I'm just kidding. I love all you Bucks.
I'm a Pistons fan, so I don't care what Bucks think of me.
All right.
Anyway, I mean, it's a solid off season for Milwaukee. They didn't have to do a whole lot of much of anything. I guess they got some nice players, so I'll give them a B, B plus. Nice off
All right.
season. They look to compete again, put
The
themselves
New
in a
York.
position to win.
Uh, Grimes and Miles McBride, which I know about both of those guys because my Syracuse Orangemen played both their teams in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, we beat Miles McBride handed to us by That's right, right? He was with Houston, right?
Yeah,
Right?
Grimes. He transferred from Kansas, but he
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
he
at
was.
Houston last year.
And then Miles McBride was the guy at what?
West
Oh,
Virginia.
that was game was heart wrenching. I loved it though. Which is good. We signed him a contract, which is perks, and then signed Evan Fournier to probably again. I'm not really gonna worry too much about a slight bit of an overpay. Pretty good. Do something to get a little bit to get better. So if you're paying them a little bit extra, you're the freaking Knicks. You're valued at like $4.3 billion or something like that. I don't think they care that much. But solid off season. You're gonna hear this a lot. But the plus maybe.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Why did I forget who we were talking about?
We're talking about the Knicks.
Oh, right, right. um, yeah, obviously the Thunder bought out Kemba Walker's contract. He went on the market and then decided to sign with his hometown team, New York Knicks. I think the Knicks have a solid team. Obviously, Julius Randle returning after a most improved season. They go and sign Kemba Walker to add to that nice roster. Also getting Nerlens Noel, signing quite Evan Fournier, like you said. So they are definitely looking to build on what they had last season after they lost in 5 games to the Atlanta Hawks. Which, speaking of the Atlanta Hawks, the Hawks and the Knicks will be in a playoff rematch come Christmas Day, as the 5 game slate for Christmas Day has actually been released now.
We'll talk about another video, and I'll go into a tangent about how the reigning MVP Nikola Jokic is not playing on Christmas. Anyway, we'll go into I, but
Yeah, we'll leave the Christmas Day slate to a different day whenever whenever me and Zabensky somehow are available on the same day. But um, but for next solid off season, I liked it. Kemba Walker, solid player. Evan Fournier, decent player. They definitely went ahead and got some solid players, but I'm gonna give the Knicks a B plus. Very good off season. Well done.
and at the moment, I was like, why do they need Jaylen Suggs? They got a bunch of guys. And then I saw Jaylen Suggs, and I remembered how good Jaylen Suggs is, and I'm like, yeah, Markel Fultz. I want Jaylen Suggs. Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner's a good player. I still take some for Franz Wagner after his first game performance. Much their last game. They really didn't do much else. They waived Dwayne Bacon, and then they signed Robin Lopez and gave another Michigan. So I'm B minus because much, but they also drafted really well.
Yeah, speaking of Michigan men, Shawnee Brown actually earned a
I saw
roster
that.
spot with the LA Lakers,
But
along
they need a
with,
shooter.
huh?
They need shooting, so we'll talk about that one in the next video.
Yeah, I mean, Shawnee Brown actually, I'm happy to see he made the roster. So did Mac McClung. He made the roster for the Lakers. So, um, nice for the Lakers, but we're talking about the East. The Magic. I was very surprised to see Jaylen Suggs just fall right into Orlando's lap. Uh, Very smart pick at number 5 because Suggs was supposed to be long gone by number 5, but he wasn't. And the Magic did what they were supposed to and took him at number 5. They do have a lot of guards, but Jalen Suggs is an unbelievable competitor, unbelievable player. I think he'll turn out very well for Orlando. And then they took Franz Wagner at number 8. I figured Franz would be a first round pick, and I knew I wasn't going to like it because I'm not the biggest fan of Franz Wagner. He's okay. I think he's more of a second round pick, not anywhere near a lottery protected pick, a lottery pick. But the Magic take him at number 8, which I think is way too high. But the Magic can do what they do, I suppose. And then like you said, they signed Brazdeikis to a two-way contract. Nice. I like. It's a Michigan guy, but for the Magic, you got Jalen Suggs late, which is the only reason why I'm giving you a B plus because that is a steal at number 5.
Now, Eastern Conference, Philadelphia 76. Actually, what I can think of is probably one of the better off seasons last year. They had a really good off season last year. This I don't even remember who they drafted because it was probably late. Gordon, good,
Gordy
good,
Jang.
good. No, not Gorgie Jang. Good
Oh,
player. Not Gorgie Jang. Gorgie Jang signed somewhere else. But they, I thought was extremely dumb. And they brought in on from the video of Joe talking to Andre Drummond on his first day. Just the face. Needless to say, we also don't have a Ben Simmons trade yet, and obviously Ben Simmons is uh, declining as you find out that he's not even returning the calls anymore. The only good thing the Sixers did, and it's only just happened today, was re-signing Joel Embiid to an extension. That if it wasn't for that, I would have given him an F. I'm gonna give him a minus. You re-signed Joel Embiid. I did everything else terrible. So B minus.
yeah. For the 76ers, in the draft, they actually did take Jaden Springer, who is a decent player. But yeah, Andre Drummond. Eh, I mean, it was. I don't remember how much money they signed Drummond for, but with Joel Embiid already on that team, I don't see how Drummond really fits in, especially this as a backup. No. But the 76ers, yeah, they haven't really signed much of anybody. They didn't trade Ben Simmons like they should have already a long time ago, and actually gotten themselves a shooter on at their point guard position because really Simmons is awful. You need to get just something for him, but
You're not
yeah,
going to get James Harden.
no, but you can. Yeah, I don't know why did they not take that,
I don't know.
but for the 76ers, I'm gonna say C minus. Not good. I'm not gonna say horrible because Drummond is an okay player. He just doesn't fit in with the team at all. So I'm just gonna say C minus.
All right, these last two we should be able to get through pretty quickly. The Toronto Raptors obviously signed Scotty Barnes. I'm not going to say Scotty Barnes isn't a good player. He's going to be a great NBA player. Suggs a little bit better. So
Yeah.
I'm going back up just a little bit for that, not too much. Signed Gary Trent. All right. Got fresh into got Converge. Obviously, Warren driving doesn't want to be there, so he won't be there long. That's really C minus. Much about it. Nothing to say.
Yeah, I'm disappointed they passed up on Jaylen Suggs because that's a really good player, and they decided to take Scotty Barnes instead. I mean, not that Barnes is a bad player like you said, but I would definitely take Suggs over Barnes. But Raptors still have a solid overall team. I think they definitely will be a play. I think they'll be a playoff team this year. I think they can be. I think they will
At least a
be.
playing
Huh?
At least a playing team.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'll give the Raptors like a C. I mean, neutral.
Now, last team for the Eastern Conference is the Washington Wizards. Obviously, got Contavious Caldwell Pope and some draft consideration for Russell Westbrook. As much of a as Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell are for a bad contract in Russell Westbrook, so
Yeah.
that's pretty good. And Spencer Dinwiddie is good. Sign Neto. But, um, like the Wizards, I like the Wizards offseason. I'll give them a B, but because of the direction they go, they're nowhere near contenders. But also just not committing to a rebuild. So I don't know where this team is going to be. There to be a play.
Yeah, I loved actually the Wizards off season. The Westbrook trade, I honestly I don't think it'll work out for the Lakers, but for the Wizards, you get a pretty solid return. You also got a draft pick out of it, which you were able to use on I believe it was Isaiah Jackson at number 21 that they took. Yeah, Isaiah or 22, I'm sorry, that they took. They gave the Lakers 2 second round picks. Who really cares? But you get Kyle Kuzma, who can play. You get Montrezl Harrell, who's a very good center. KCP is okay. And then you just replace Russell Westbrook with a younger and maybe better shooter Spencer Dinwiddie. So I like the Wizard. I like all that for the Wizards, all in and of itself. Corey Kispert is a pure scorer that will really help out the Wizards as well. I'll give him actually a B plus, teetering on A minus. I like their off season. I think is definitely going to improve their team. I think they should be in the play-in tournament again.
It's our Eastern Conference preview. Off seasons. So Western Conference the next weeks. We got we don't.
Yeah. Adios, everybody.